Right guys, now this is the Merit 1 presentation. Can you make sure that your Merit 1 work goes directly below your Pass 1 work? Right, okay, now what you've got to do for the M1, you've got to select 3 of these. So these are 4 different examples of communications at college. All I want you to do is 3 of these. Now me personally, I would advise doing the top 3. This is because these are 3 things that you should know something about. Right, okay, now what you need to do is to answer these 6 different questions for each of these 3 different things. So for feedback from teachers on performance, you answer these 6 different questions. For information about courses, these 6 different questions. And notice of college events, again, these 6 different questions. Now, one resource that you used in class, which I think will help you massively, just bear with me while I find it, is this one, straight from the Padlet. So what you've got here are some questions that you filled in class. Now you basically need to type up what you've done in class for feedback from teachers on performance, notice of college events, and information about courses. And I would say if you do this properly, in total, for these 3 different things, you should be looking to write between 2 and 3 pages. So the best part of the page for each one of these 3 different things linked to the M1 criteria. Now what I'm going to do is to give you an example of what you could do for, let's go for this one, notice of college events. I'm not going to go through all 3. Okay, I'll talk you through one of them to give you an idea what I'm looking for. So think about the first one, notice of college events aimed at students. What different types of events will the college offer? Well, we offer lots and lots of different types of events. We have things like, it's not going to let me write on this for some reason. We have things like open evenings. So we have these several times across the academic year where people come in and talk to us about their kids' performance. We have parents, so that would be parents' evenings, but we also have open evenings where people come in and talk to us about potential courses that their kids might do next year or the year after. We have year 10 days where people come in from their schools to run or take part in sample lessons in different subjects. We have the arts department, which have lots of different events across the year where they invite people to come in and watch some of their performances. The sports department run lots of different sporting events across the academic year. Right, well, think about number 2. Why does the college provide information about events? Ultimately, it's to make sure they're successful. If we don't tell people about an open evening, well, no one comes. That could mean that next year we don't have enough students at college. If we don't tell people about sporting events or events in the arts department, again, no one will come. It would mean that event would not be successful. If we didn't tell people about parents' evening, well, parents wouldn't come in. But that would stop us passing on the information to help their kids get better grades. That could be really bad for success rates across the college or how many high grades people get. Then what you've got to do is to explain to me how we communicate events in these different ways. Okay, so if I was looking at verbal, when we offer college events, it could be done verbally through teachers telling students about them, for example. It could be in presentations where the principal or senior management tell people what events are coming up across college. Now, the advantage of providing notices of college events verbally is that you can answer questions or concerns that people have got. You might be able to clarify certain points. The drawback of it, though, is that ultimately some people will forget. Okay, if all the information is given to you verbally, then you're going to forget. But on top of that as well, if we told students about parents' evenings verbally, go home, tell your mum and dad you've got a parents' evening, a lot of people would forget. And normally when you've got lots of information that's been given to you, it's very difficult to retain and keep hold of if it's been given to you verbally. Okay. Right, now written communication. Well, this could be through letters. So, for example, to make you aware of my events that I'm running soon, the London trip, I gave you all a letter. And I gave you a copy of that, so you've got something you can take away with you to show your parents and to look at the fine print and look at all the details of the trip. We also give out prospectuses promoting different events. Letters might be sent home in the post. So lots and lots of different types of written communication. Well, what are the advantages of written communication? Well, if you let people know about events using written communication, they've got something they can reference back to. Okay, you can also make sure that people who weren't there when it was given verbally can look back at that and access what information they've missed out on. Disadvantages of written information. If you want to communicate things in written format, you run the risk that some people might not understand the information that's given to them. It might not make sense. Okay, you could also argue that giving people written information can often be quite expensive as well. All that printing costs a lot of money. On-screen or web-based. Okay, now we make people aware of college events through things like email. We also make people aware of college events through the college website. Okay, these things will flash up when you log onto the website. Benefits of passing information on this way. Well, there's a good chance it'll reach more people. If you weren't there when the information was given verbally, or you've lost a copy of the letter you've been given, or you've not passed it on, what this will do, it will give you another way of looking at that information. Okay, so it'll probably reach more people. Downsides to this stuff, though, is it is assuming that people have got the technology at home to look at this stuff. We're assuming that parents, for example, can log on and look at events that are happening at college, go onto the website to look there in the first place. Multimedia. We have the TV screens across college, which make people aware about different events that are coming up. We've got fancy videos and fancy graphics, for example. Great thing about these is that it catches people's attention. It often looks quite interesting. Okay, it's a great way of sort of drawing people in. It could mean that more people come to the events. Drawback of multimedia? Well, multimedia to put together and produce is very, very expensive. It costs a lot of money. Colleges don't often have a lot of money. Right, can I look at number 4? Why does the college provide notice of college events using lots of different types of communication? Well, the reason why we do it is that ultimately it will hopefully reach more people if you communicate that same message in lots of different ways. You've also got some people who prefer things in certain different communication methods, so you're catering for more different types of people. And ultimately, the more different ways you communicate that message about the events, hopefully the more people will attend. Now, what I've given you there is what I would do for college events to get the Merit 1 criteria. What you also need to do is think about what you would say for feedback from teachers on performance and information about courses. Okay, so hopefully that will serve useful for when you complete your Merit 1 criteria.